Dubey,
Because
Dubey sir, you can unmute and start.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back again this Sunday. Uh, I'm very happy to say that Dr. Gajanan Rao has agreed to be with us today, and he'll be speaking on a theme, teachings in daily living. Most of us know Dr. Gajanan Rao, but I'll give a very brief introduction to those people who are joining this group for the first time. Dr. Rao is a medical doctor based in Chennai. He also runs a school, the Good Earth School, which basically follows the educational philosophy of Krishnji. Dr. Rao is a very senior trustee of the Krishnamurti Foundation India, and I want to extend a very warm welcome to him and also thank him on behalf of the Indore Study Circle that he has kindly agreed to be with us and give a talk. Sir, you can start now.
I'm very nervous. I wish to go on to some introducing. Well, it's a very nice subject, practical subject. At the same time, a dangerous subject. One cannot say, yes, a lot of the teachings are coming to me. No, not many, not any probably can say that. But teaching yet was not very hard, maybe. Tough, of course, the man was tough who probably passed, but then he doesn't own it. He doesn't own it is his teaching. Krishnaji had never said, my teaching. So I have a small paragraph to read from what I copied from a book, The Teacher and the Teaching. The investigation of that teaching leads to or brings about the truth, which is holy. And if you are committed to that, to the investigation of the teachings and the discovery or coming upon that truth, which is holy, then we are responsible for that. Nobody else is. It looks as though it's our own work. I won't say effort, because you listen to something very profound, you're very interested, it impacts you. Like one day first time I was to see Krishnaji delivering his talk in Chennai, was my mid-40s, or mid-40s, 44, 1970. It was twilight in Vasanta Vihar. I couldn't quickly see how many were there, who were there, and all that. My first introduction to the place, thanks to my two close friends who told me to attend this talk. There was a beautiful voice, sonorous, loud. It hit you. And then I could see a very small, slender figure, white, with the light focused on him. It was coming from there. He said, they always said, sir, sir, even to the audience, or even to a small boy. He said, sir, the queen seated on the throne and the little boy playing marbles, an urchin on the road. Is there any difference between the two? Except the appearance, maybe. Is there any difference between these two? Inside the skin, as it were, inside the skull, inside the chest. Everything is the same. He said that. Everything is the same. There is no dissimilarity. No division, although we have made 100 divisions to kill ourselves. They are the same. This boy is up to see more marbles. Maybe the queen, maybe in a throne would white one more country added to her empire. So the greed, the envy, the good qualities, maybe other evil qualities, bad qualities like anger, all the disorders of human being, they are in manifest in every human being one day. So where is the difference? Aren't we the same? It really gave me a big, it went in a thud, like he, as he himself says, drop a big stone in water, it just block, it goes. It doesn't even make ripple. That was the kind of first bit of teaching I received from him, was that. And then, what a factor, you can't help it. It always said, I always thought, maybe you can't even prevent these things affecting you. You may not get all that in you to be applied, to getting applied in daily your living, but I really thought this is a man who can give you a great teacher, mind you, very great teacher. So he was called a world teacher, and there will be a certain way he will teach a child at his 81 or 90. There's a way you will put the same thing to the child which you can't even make an adult understand. So when he was asked in Rishi Valley, a lady asked, so what would you like to teach young children like this? He said, why? I will teach religion to them. That was a remarkable statement. That was him. So this first impact was really great on me, because I always wondered why we put the servant there. Why am I here sitting in the room? Why can't he even come near me and shake hands with me and touch me? Because the orthodoxy of the place in my young days was terrible. My grandmother, if she happened to see a man of untouchable nature, she has to bathe again to have a go to the puja room. That was the kind of things most of us went through, maybe. But then I feel very guilty too. I can't sit with him, chat with him. He's a lovely fellow, one of them working in the house. I would like to sit with him and guffaw, but then that was not allowed. So, and also everywhere you see this. There is a beggar, there is a lower division clerk, upper division. That's why I admire our friend Prasad. Have you disappeared? Being whatever. So, this is a test for you, Prasad, isn't it? You are in a very high position and you treat your assistants as if they are your friends. I don't know how you treated them, but I cannot help treating a patient or a nurse or even a ward boy in the hospital as if he's a very low person. I cannot. If somebody, even as I am, stands and talks for a long time, I feel like getting up or offering a small seat. So that sense of equality, whether you like or not, where you are a little disposed towards such feelings, I think it's Krishnaji was great that way. So, a few days later, the same place, 3-4 days later, I was attending the talk. Questions really of very provoking nature. But the answer settles you. That is not the way he lectured. He always gave you questions to ponder over deeply, talk it out with friends so that it germinates further. It has its branches, more than branches, it roots in you when you talk about it. And that talking should be from the heart, from the depths of your whatever. So, sorry. He was asking again one evening, very, very interesting question. We're all told desire is bad. Shut yourself. Don't go anywhere towards desire. And it simply dumps you, drowns you. You can never wake up from it. This question was, and I am also a man, maybe have many, many small desires. So I used to also worry about it. I read some old Vedantic books, even when I was young. I used to worry about it. Maybe I shouldn't desire such a thing. It's not for me. First question was, when I entered that day, when he was talking, that impressed me. So what's wrong with desire? So I said, here's a man who's encouraged me to have some desires. They said, what's wrong in desiring a good meal, a good companionship with you, good company? What's wrong enjoying a good breeze and the rise of a moon or setting of a sun? Nothing wrong. What's wrong with such desires? But then others followed it up saying, if you want, go the next day and want the same moon there or the same sun there. If you want the same kind of meal every day, more and more, that desire really is a little perverted. So desire is okay, but not ask for more. What a beautiful lesson to us. Not ask for more and more. You become an addict to desires. That's how people fall into alcoholism, smoking. They're drowned really. It's difficult to pull them back. Haven't you heard people saying, oh, I've tried giving up alcohol and smoke number of times? Such a funny statement, right? So this is what happens to the brain and your emotions who are ready to be enslaved. You're ready to be imprisoned. This is conditioning, right? The conditioning swallows you. It has been a thick coat on your brain. And so now Krishna is saying, can you come out of that? Can you come out of that? Can you drain all that you have accumulated? That was really great listening to him. He was telling you right in front of you, sitting down, this is how you have to live. This is how you have to live to make life easy. But then there are conflicts in life. You're ready to take on more than one problem and not being able to deal with, suffocate. The brain quickly invites a problem, another problem, another problem. When it's not even deal with one problem. Problems come in several ways. Problem he will tell you is something thrown at you. Something just thrown at you. You have to manage it in your life. So, sir, teachings bring so many things to you to learn. And he will tell you what is learning. Learning is not just reading and accumulating another information. That's useless. You can become a big academician, and become a big pundit, lectures to thousands of people. But then, is there a question to yourself, what are you? What am I? Am I part of that teaching, which is so valuable? As he said, it's not his teaching. And I was just talking to my cousin this morning, my niece, saying, yes, it's very hard for people, spiritual people, to say that it's not my teaching. Don't obey me. Don't really make me happy. Say something. He would like people to be original, not just follow somebody. So follow is a word out of his dictionary. Don't follow anybody, he would say. So this is best part of a teaching. He's encouraging somebody to be, even from young age, to be original. What are we doing is becoming copies. Copies and copies and copies. So where is originality? Where is freshness? Somebody thought of something and told you, and you follow it, and you want to follow it. I'm not saying good things couldn't be put into your life, but following is another matter. So that's what we have been doing all life. So can we see the end of the tunnel there and breathe fresh? Think on our own, and even not think at one time. You know, he always said that. The devastation of thought process in us, right? Thought and thinking doesn't tire us. I am a victim of that, a kind of a mind shattering for a long time. You just sitting alone, you can't even enjoy a young tender shoot coming, the mild light playing on it, the beauty of it. Because you become thoughtful, you're somewhere pulled to some occupation or something that has gone on, you know. So thoughts nature is that. Thinking nature is that. It's useful, no doubt. Thinking and thoughtfulness is useful. If that becomes whole life, then where are you left with for a space? Where are you left with silence? And Krishnaji points to silence as a real profound thing in life, a jewel. Have we known that silence? I don't think I very often float. Maybe now in my 80s, I feel that we have gone a long way on that. Let us turn a bit. My wife should tell me how much I've turned or still rotting in that rut. All the daily life of whatever. You can easy for us to scold somebody, easy for us to smile at somebody, easy for us to be too happy, easy for us to drown in sorrow. I'm not saying this is all wrong, it's part of life maybe, but we don't even have to control it. But thought not being dominant in the brain will not, whatever, I'm afraid to use the word divine, or to bring in certain objectivity. Thought is me, right? I have accumulated all the stuff in me as information, as knowledge. Then there are memories out of it, right? And the memory floating all the time, that is connecting you to the world. So supposing I want to come upon something very new, absolutely new, will my memory help me? If you put a red pen, you think it's a red pen. Tomorrow you're searching for a red pen on the table. You won't find it. It would be black, maybe you thought it was red. So I said, there's no red pen on that table. That's what you see. But actually, when you have no idea about it, you would pick the pen. Right? So it's not something new to appear in the horizon of our personality or persona. The old has to be set aside. This is a very strong, repeated statement. Can you set aside? And I feel this, I may be wrong. If I'm talking to someone, I become very opinionated, let's say. And that doesn't even let the other man come into the conversation. I'm so opinionated. I stick to my opinions. I become headstrong. I want to argue for my opinion. It's no conversation, it's no dialogue. It's a debate, right? Discussion, as they call it. Even there is somebody who was talking. He said even discussion is not a wrong word. Discussion is sounding like percussion instruments. Question. So dialogue may be a nice word, they thought. Dialogue. And you and I, maybe 5 people, 10 people, 1,000 people opposite you, and we are talking. So it is 2 people talking. When all of them, all of us, like I'm listening to someone like Krishnaji or Harshad or who, if I don't bring my opinions to clash, I'm listening in silence. And a dialogue goes very smoothly. Not that I want to agree or disagree, but I'm listening, right? When a man who is a Zen master was eating his food, there's a disciple who was sitting next to him. Master, what are you thinking? Me thinking. I'm eating. So even eating is such a focused affair. So that's it. Well, one can go on, but one thing that is to be learned from the teaching is to be simple, to be humble. Right? Is that possible? Krishnaji ever asked me, seen him or heard him use I? Even I don't know even the word you say the speaker. Sir, we. It's not a royal we. He said we. It's a humble we. We are saying, not that he is saying. So there is even small things, there's so much to learn. And we complain very often. There is no time. I can't go into all that and understand. And unless one understands, what is there to do about the teachings? Nothing. You have to understand it, what is being said. So what is understanding then? Is it just getting the information to you to analyze later? Analysis is one word you would object to. Because analysis is all thoughtful analysis. So it is so much you in it in analysis. You won't get anywhere with it. But seeing, I'm sorry to emphasize on this, not that I have done that, I may have done that, I don't know. Seeing is doing. Not think about it later to do. It's a remarkable statement. Maybe even our other big people have talked about it. Seeing is doing. Seeing is doing means there is nothing in between coming. And your seeing is so clear to see. And automatically it is done. It is not seeing, thinking about it. There is even a small poem in Tamil, I don't remember the whole thing. If you say tomorrow, you say a day after, just wait, just give me one day. It's all gone. You won't do. Because something comes in between and you won't. So understanding is instant. Doing is instant. In between whatever effort comes, I don't have to tell you. We all know what is effort. It's a conscious effort. Anything of a conscious nature, you are already there. So you may twist it to your way, which is not right in all this, because you may want to act in somebody's favor. So you come there, but you're just listening and doing. Can you help not being in that and just let seeing do? It's very difficult listen, sir. I'm not saying I am doing it, but just look at it. Look at Krishna just putting it. Not that we should, imbibe it and then follow it and all that. But each thing points to you, throws good pointers to you. So what are you doing with yourself? Go on thinking, build theories about it, ideologies about, ideas about, to fight about it later. Any ideology brings a fight. We have seen this. What is happening now in the country? Don't we see? Each day in the media, killing. Yesterday somebody killed by just slapping. Atrocities are happening when there are divisions. Ideologies divide, ideas divide. So any thinking divide, did you see that? Thought divides. So Krishnaji went to the extent of saying, thought is divisive. Thought is evil, therefore, because thought is your thought, my thought, then I am not the other. Can I be the other? That state may come when you feel that you are interfering. It is not going thoughtless in a kind of a focus somewhere into a book or into a picture and you get out of your thought. Not that. This thoughtlessness has a meaning. You are thinking, you are using thought, you are in for trouble in even important matters. So particularly psychological matters. As anybody has solved any problem through thinking, like particularly relationship problems, becomes very, very difficult. What is happening between countries? Have they any relationship? As Pakistan and India won now, after probably 1,000 meetings on the border or somewhere, all carefully prepared contested texts for the dialogue. They are afraid to utter anything from their own heart. Your heart may say, just give off your bit of the land and be rid of it. Go with it. No, I have to go back and face the whole voters. I may not get the sufficient voting when I do that. I can't give in. I can't give in, I can't give up, and other fellow will be same. And where is the dialogue? Where is the settlement? And where is the solution to anything? So relationship is one thing that Krishnaji talked about, like health, if I may use the word, I'm sorry. Because he said finally, life is a relationship. Life is a relationship. So that much of a importance given to life and relationship. And so I was only going to say that we are complex human beings. We become very complex human beings, I'm afraid. So how does one come out of it and be simple? So complexity with complexity. To be simple, I have to be rid of complexity, but I can't do that easily. Not try to do that. So what will be of help? She left us without something so solid clues to do this, do that. It's not that he didn't know, not that he could tutor you to such things. Relationship is good, beautiful. It should be in life as it should be, but we are not able to manage one thing within the family, outside the family. There are always clashes. Man is not comfortable. Man is not at peace with himself. When a man is not at peace with himself, how are you going to bring about peace in the whole world? Naturally, as Krishnamurti would say, will politicians bring peace to the world? No, the inequalities that exist, that struggle will never exist. But one really pointer was very useful to me, maybe to so many of us. We are full of disorders. Human beings are full of disorders. To be peaceful, to be honest with yourself, to be what should I say? You have to be ridding the disorders. Say, I'm a man who can quickly angry. I'm a man who quickly become greedy. I'm a man who can quickly become jealous of somebody. So he brought in a word, very beautiful word we all know of, awareness. Awareness. It's not being conscious. Awareness doesn't involve you or me. I don't know where it hangs, but there could be something called awareness in the system if you have really built it up well, and there's a certain order even in your physical system, certain order about the brain's working in the nervous system, psychologically. These are all psychological events, right? Anger, jealousy, makes you infuriated. You dislike somebody strongly, right? You're at war with someone. Do you know two friends can remain not talking to each other who have been friends for 30 years, for another 30 years? Just that ego preventing to say, I'm sorry. Probably what I said was wrong. Can I withdraw what I said? I don't like to go on with you like this. Finish the whole thing. But Krishnaji said that once in Brockwood Park. When children quarrel, they must telephone and say, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, said that. Everything is gone. You're friendly again. So this awareness is the mantra. If it can come into, I hope Harshadji comments somebody else and tells us, what is this awareness, the nature of it? If you're aware, you're about to burst out with anger. As the anger arising, so this is practically you can do it. I have done. And I know I'm getting slowly angry and I will burst out maybe, it can stop. With no struggle, it can stop. So you have to think about the disaster you produce, the disturbance you produce in your own organism, people around you. The awareness that the anger is arising can stop that. Jealousy is same. Envy is the same. Why envy? Can I not be happy so and so got a very beautiful car, beautiful house? You enjoy with him. Oh, I don't have a house like that. Look at me. So all this brings not only jealousy, envy, anger, violence, but also, mind you, tremendous sorrow. You live in sorrow, that's why. You want and you don't have. Sorrow. So he talked of all this. He talked of all the disorder of human being, which is very useful. I think the thing is, he said two things sometimes. You can't use it. You can't understand something and use it. No, I understand. But you have somebody has explained to you clearly the whole anatomy, physiology, and the structure of the thing, and you got it. It's stored somewhere you don't even know. And it applies in situations required, the demanding it. Such things can happen. It's not a miracle. So, again, see, the formula is applied. Awareness of your being angry, getting angry, what is subsides. So many other things are like that. So these disorders attended, so-called, we are so complex. As I said, it's not easy. What I'm saying is may not be easy. But can we work on it? Krishnaji said, what do we work with? Not that kind of work. One can work, not attempt, struggle, effort, and all that. Just attend to it without too much struggle. It can happen when you're interested. I don't want to be so angry. I don't want to be jealous for reasons we know. So that can take care of all the disorders. And he said about meditation quite a lot. It's not easy understood what meditation is. We have all kinds of meditations that come into the in vogue. But one man was asking from a crowd, sir, I don't know about meditation. I have no time. So what are you? He said, I'm a clerk. How do you reach your office? By bus. How long does it take? 45 minutes. You have 45 minutes for meditation. So meditation is anywhere. It's not a corner, a divine corner, a deity in front of you. If you're sitting by yourself on the shore of a sea or a river or under a tree, as you would say beautifully, poetically, dapper light on you, a friend on the bench, you both seriously discuss something about way of life and problems of life. That's meditation. There needn't be divinity in you to meditate, but that might bring it, we don't know. So in that silence, in that friendliness, in that care of what other is saying, in that affection, with all these ingredients, maybe the other is there, we don't even know, other can come in. So this is what he's saying. We'll stop with that. I would like others to really go into this.
Thank you, sir.
1 minute. I'm
Yeah.
saying, I've just finished it. I'm saying, I just got disturbed. Sorry. Yes. His statement. If you have rid of all, you are rid of all the disorders, and your house is in the order. That means you have left a window open in the room. You cannot invite that may come in. The divine may come in. I don't know the state, but I think it is there, solidly expressed. So who knows? It can happen to any of us one day or not happen. Not happen also, one needn't worry about it, right? Sir, I have finished just one answer of a person in Banaras who strikingly said it still remains in me. His last talk in Banaras. And his question was rather rude, I don't know why. In a sense, it looked to me. And I knew this man was going, probably many didn't also. Saying, sir, after you die, it was a Buddhist monk. What should happen to your teaching? And the man said, the Krishnaji said, it depends on you, sir. What an answer it was. Can anybody forget? Do you require teachings to be booked and framed and given to you? Videos to be given to you? He said, it depends on you. But if you make a book out of it, video out of it, put him in the temple and deify him and worship, is all wiped off. But if you choose to live it, it lives. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I don't know what to say. I have no words to express. You have covered the entire gamut of Krishna's teachings so beautifully. I don't know what to say. It was a pleasure hearing you, sir. And I leave it to others to ask questions now. Harshad Bhai wants to make a comment or perhaps ask a question. Please unmute yourself.
Okay. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Gajanan Rao. The first book which I came across of Krishnaji was The Flight of the Eagle. And in that book, Krishnaji was asking many good questions which I had not asked myself. So by reading that book, I began to look at my own problem in the daily life, and it helped me very much. And I read many other books over 4 or 5 years, and I was writing letters to Krishnaji also, describing what was happening within me after reading the books. But the books which I liked most was commentaries on living. And these are in 3 parts and total about 200 articles. And each article is about 3 or 4 pages. And there's a beautiful description of nature. And there are philosophical reflections, psychological insights, probing intelligence. And these dialogues are with ordinary people, and sometimes one-to-one dialogue, and very, very interesting if we can read even one dialogue every day. And what Krishnaji is talking about with all these people and even in his public talks, and the topics which are covered are like boredom, listening, anger, fear, ambition, beauty, desire, jealousy, and so on. And all this goes on in our life. And when we become very, very curious to look within us, when there are these problems, then we begin to really understand, not only intellectually, but really we can begin to see how these problems are arising. And to see it clearly, I feel that thinking is not enough. Intellect is not enough. We need sensitivity, curiosity to look inward, honesty, that when we see that there are problems, we don't try to escape and see that, yes, there are problems. Intensity, that means passion. Of course, silence and attention. And all this, for Krishnaji uses the word choiceless awareness, which is not in the dimension of thinking. So when this choiceless awareness, which can see how the problems are arising at the time they are arising, then that awareness is the real key to freedom. And Krishnaji comes to describe the conflict which arises within us in the form of thinker and thought. Or you can also say the observer, me, and what is observed, the you or something nature. And Krishnaji takes us to the root of all the problems of this conflict, the division, and the root is thinking. And from thinking comes the sense of I or me. And then the duality starts. So I really put my whole attention on observing how the thinking arises. And when you are very, very intensely looking inward, then your thinking also stops. And then either there is a fear of not being, so that fear will take us away from ourselves. And then we read Krishnamurti and do whatever, talk with other people, discuss. But if we are not afraid, when the thinking stops and there is a awareness, then that awareness reveals everything what is happening within us. And in that awareness, there is also the freedom from the problem. So I would say the Krishnamurti's teachings are very, very relevant only when a different kind of looking happens in our life, what Krishnaji calls choiceless awareness. And the teachings are about this choiceless awareness, awakening of intelligence. Krishnaji would also use that word. Okay, I've finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshad Bhai. Clemice, you can ask the question. Yeah.
Thank you. In fact, I would just like to say that it seems to me that the important thing that if we can keep in mind through the day is that whatever comes, if it is anger, if it is jealousy, whatever it is, it has nothing to do with the people with whom we are relating. It has to do with our own self. It comes from us, so it has to do with us. The people are only triggers to those things. So if we cannot blame situations and people for what we feel and for the way we feel, I think that would be a great thing that if we could do that.
Thank you, Clemice. Thank you. Yes, Durga ji, please go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, sir. Sir, it's wonderful listening to you. Straight from heart, you spoke, and your years of maturity and staying with the teaching. That's all reflected on an extempore basis. You touch upon all the core issues of the teaching. And whatever you stated, it looked as if you stated from your own experiences on first-hand seeing of things, which I feel is the essence of the teaching. Krishnaji wanted us to do that. He time and again, repeatedly, he used to say, "Don't even listen to the man," referring to himself. And he used to say, experiment with it and go into it. But and then when you find something on your own, that will be your own understanding. There is nothing to do with Krishnamurti or anybody else, and how valid it is. And I do feel, the teaching of this kind is not going to happen maybe in hundreds and hundreds of years, sir. But the thing is, where are we in this wonderful, magnum opus of the teaching? Are we able to go take even the baby steps towards what he meant us to do? Definitely, the teaching has so much of depth and so much of magnitude to it. And however little we do, maybe there is less. But how interested are we? How not even interested? How passionate are we to go into the depths of the teaching? What is it trying to say? And at the end of the day, it is nothing but understanding our common human consciousness. And maybe there is more to it. There is more to it. The humanity to it, and there is a divinity to it. There's so many aspects to it. But are we prepared to go all the way, or are we satisfied with the surface? These are the questions, I think we need to keep asking. And so recently I have come across a wonderful quotation by Einstein. He says, don't go to a man who has all the answers, but listen to a man who has questions. So that's what Krishnaji wanted us to do. When you only question, when you only reflect, when you only see all around you, in you, and in the people around you, then only you start questioning, you start inquiring. Otherwise, very happily, we sit in our own thing, and we think that, by reading Krishnaji and by just listening, discussing endlessly, we have understood or something like that. So that, I think, all his 60 years of effort was that, to make us, sit, pause, and take a look at this. What all the beauty of the life we are missing, this the universe, and that variations in the creation, what all we miss in our lives, sir. We in our own limited petty lives, we get so engrossed in our day-to-day relations, which you mentioned quite a bit. When we don't have that kind of a balance in our relationships, we completely get engrossed in that. And where is the time for us to look around? Where is the time for us to admire the nature, the creation? That's a beautiful flora, fauna, the trees, the changing seasons of weather. So time and again, I feel he tried his level best to, beat us with a stick on our heads and see, aware, listen, see what all you're missing. See it, that's what whenever I read the teachings, sir, whenever I read any quotation text, these things keep coming to me. And very nicely you have covered all the points, sir. And I feel it's about, how passionately you are connected, how far you would really want to go deeper. I think, and they are self-revealing, sir. When you have that awareness, when you start observing yourself, no doubt you start understanding other person also, where the other person is coming from. And that kind of a empowering the teaching does to you. And after some time, maybe Krishnaji is also, one leaves, Krishnaji also left behind, because he has inculcated those qualities in you. And maybe that's what he says. Go beyond me. Don't make me a crutch. Don't go beyond me, and then you understand the beauty of this nature, beauty of this creation. Maybe that's what he is hinting at. And one more thing, sir. That last point you said, keeping your house in order, and leaving the window open. Yes, sir. That's so relevant that statement is. That's all we can do, sir. And there is no end to it. It's a moment-to-moment action and day-to-day basis, and maybe all the time it has to go inside. Setting the house in order, setting the house in oneself, the disorder in oneself, and leaving the window open. The breeze may come in or it may not come in, but how does it matter? We just came in contact with this a marvelous teaching of Krishnaji. Maybe that itself is beauty enough, sir. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Durga. Thank you. Shakti ji, please. Shakti has a problem with the video, so he'll be only talking to us. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. This about awareness you have said, sir, and I feel that for me, it has been quite difficult to watch this, what is called default network of stimulus independent thought, or we call it mind wandering. So it's very elusive. We watch and it sometimes hides and then comes again and whatever. But one thing about this awareness I would like to share here, in these online meetings, Dr. Kumar Swami once mentioned about how we are uh, multitasking. For example, doing one thing and then thinking also. It is akin to attending someone and watching TV also. So in that way, so I thought about it, and Krishnamurti somewhere else also he said that it's important to watch the outside world also. So I thought, as Durga ji just mentioned, baby steps. So as a baby step, because I have read Krishnamurti saying, if we give complete attention when we are eating, that is action. What is important is not what we are doing, but whether we can give total attention. So in small things, I started being aware. That's Krishnamurti would call that choiceful awareness. It doesn't work that way, but just to play with it. And I found one thing very strange, and for me it has been very relevant also, which I'm sharing, that it seems that awareness can never become a habit. It's unawareness that seems to be a habit, which one needs to unlearn again and again. So just that I wanted to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shakti. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yes, Anandji, please.
So my question is, when we are talking about daily living, how do I understand what leisure means? Oh, so how does it impact my daily living? Leisure.
Are you asking me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, he had even said school means leisure, because we simply pack our time with events and things. And that leisure become a luxury for us, so to say, because we're all the time doing something or the other, thinking something or the other, or reading some books, or in our business activities. But then leisure is not something of a time allotted for doing something, no. As you're stating a question, I can listen to you with leisure, a mind that is not, desperately doing something, and I want to listen. It becomes a difficulty listening to you. So can I at once tune myself to a state where I am all for you, even if it's 1 minute? This is helps even our medical field. I'm sorry to refer to it. Although there was a doctor. Even if you're 10 patients waiting outside, you must listen to what this man has to say. There's a professor of mine who would say those days, look, listen to him. He is giving you the diagnosis. Where are you? So by his history, he is giving you the diagnosis. But you don't listen, then you'll write 100 tests and spoil, take away all his money. And so leisure is that which can be even 1 minute at peace, given to somebody or given to yourself. And leisure is possible in spite of activity. That's what I would like to say. It's a precious thing. So I'm glad you mentioned it, because all of us think we are busy and can't give 1 minute at leisure to anybody, to our own self sometimes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Prasad sir has given a written something in the chat box and he wants to say something. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Sir, same thing. I didn't know whether my chart will get an answer. I want to ask the same question because I mean, Krishnaji is always peaceful. I want to know whether Dr. Gajanan Rao, because of his intimate contact for a very, very long time, whether he ever saw Krishnaji losing his temper. That is one thing, sir. First, I think. Then secondly, I have a small comment on this awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness is, it is not thought, it is not anything we can define. It is just an inherent faculty of the brain. That is how I look at it.
Would you call it sensitivity?
Yes, sir.
Sensitive. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That is also there. It is a faculty of the brain. Like I have eyesight. I have that faculty of sight. So
Yeah.
I have faculty of hearing. Just like that, awareness
Feeling.
is a faculty of the brain. That is how I
Okay.
think of it.
I thought Harshad would say something on that. He didn't. I can't go in further. Maybe he'll make him. But at this I want, Prasad Garu, this I want to tell you, one questioned him one day in the small meetings. Krishnaji, you talk of anger at length. Have you ever been angry? Have you ever been angry? Right.
Yes, that is the question. I am asking you, sir, whether you have seen him losing his temper.
Not losing his temper is close people who pack things for him and all that at one time, and they find this passport is missing or something. They told me he's a little flurry. Oh, no. Not
Flurry
anything.
is different, sir. You can get flurried.
No anger anywhere I have witnessed. My association is not even as much as Harshadji and some others here. Even I think so. No. He made me get upset, but I did a stupid thing one day. He's sitting very near me in a small ring, and there was even Padmaji with me, Padma Santana, and some other friends. I don't know why he looked at me very near quarter and said, "Sir, if I tell you I love you, what's your response?" I said, "You also listen to that." I said, "I'd be delighted." It was such a foolish answer to him. He put his head down. I don't So I've never seen only that question he answered, "Sir, yes, the speaker was angry once and saw the futility of it, was never angry again." That was a great statement. Such statements bring you the teachings, more than the books. So Sarsaji Bulia.
Should I say something about anger, Krishnaji, and anger or awareness?
Yes.
You can talk about both.
Okay, yes, I have not seen myself, Krishnaji, getting angry, but some of my friends who were teachers in Rishi Valley School, they told me that Krishnaji was angry with them when they had a meeting one-to-one. So, and also in some biographies, it is mentioned that Krishnaji was angry with some staff member in Brockwood Park. And so maybe in the private life, Krishnaji could have been angry, I feel, though not in public during talks or dialogues. About awareness, I would say it is not thinking. If we consider, like this is my imagination, that if we consider thinking and feeling as a two-dimensional plane, like a flat surface, and then coming out of that flat surface, coming up and looking at thinking and feeling very clearly in the third dimension. So awareness is in a different dimension than thinking and feeling. So there are no words, no, you can't describe it, but it is a state of looking, and maybe tradition will call it witnessing, in which there is no sense of I or me, which is who is watching. So there is no observer. So it is a observation without the observer, you can say. That is what awareness is. And that is what we were discussing in the last dialogue, that there is observation without the observer. That is what awareness means. Okay, I finish.
Yes, Dinesh ji.
Are you able to listen to me, sir?
Yes.
Sir, when you were with Krishna ji, it seems that you were many times with him. Have you felt any difference of any presence or any other quality which is not normal or which is different from the qualities when you meet other persons? Any presence or any sort of that thing?
See, I had never been very personally related to him, although I was near him and all that. He probably knew I was so and so. But then, situations outside meetings, I wouldn't have known him much. But you're asking, how did he react to something? Tell me, Kamlesh, no? You asked a question.
Dinesh Waghmare.
Tell me again.
Dinesh Waghmare. Dinesh. My name is Dinesh Waghmare, sir.
Oh, Dinesh, I'm sorry. Did you ask whether he behaved in a particular way which was out of the way or something?
No, I asked that whether you felt any different quality, any presence or any difference when you meet other persons as well, when you, in contrast to other persons, when you meet.
It becomes a little sentimental, maybe, and personal. I was very nervous when he came very near. I thought he was going to ask something serious one day. He said, "What's weather today?" That was an easy question to answer. But then we were at lunches and dinners where sat in the same table. He would ask questions, and he was a man with part of, there was quite some humor in him. All that things like that where, it was personality to be laughing, to be serious, to be saying something. One day he asked suddenly like this, a lot of people are sitting there and we were eating. He said, I'm sorry to say this, I don't know whether I should. Is Satya Sai Baba a Brahmin? This is not a question. I felt 3 women answered no. And his next response, see how Brahmins are reacting. 3 women were Brahmins. Some, I won't mention names, but it was so quick. Look how Brahmins react. Anyway, like that, it was very, very quick to a mood of humor and seriousness all going together.
Any impression he gave, his impression about Satya Sai Baba?
No, he wouldn't go into all that. I'm sorry, that would have been, he would never comment on somebody. In common, he would say, what are these gurus doing and all that. Never took anyone for an example.
Thank you, sir.
But sir, when you asked a question, how did you feel when you were with him? You couldn't but not feel a certain warmth, certain tension. These two went together when he was close with you or talking in a small group you happened to see. It was really something you couldn't escape. There is a warmth and certain tension, certain tremendous respect which you couldn't help. He may not wanted respect from you.
I think his presence was very overwhelming, and one always felt that even if there is a crowd of maybe 400 or 300 people, one felt that he is talking to you.
Yes.
That was something which was unique with him.
Yes.
And he was very beautiful to look at.
Yes.
Yes, Clemice.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something about everybody's asking if Krishnaji ever got angry or anybody saw he's losing his temper or something like that. My question is, we know anger because that's very familiar to us. So we feel that because it's happening to us, people like Krishnamurti may also have it. But when they become energetic, is that anger? Or sometimes it can be something that we don't even know. And then because we see him energetic and saying something with energy and with being very, very at the point of it, like this teacher in Shripati who said he was angry at me. We see it like that, but it may not be anger. It may be something different that we don't even know about.
You may be right.
Because I feel he was so passionate about his teachings that he wanted to make it clear, that he wanted to make it easy for us to see it. And in that, he may look at us like he's angry or he's being, but I'm not sure that that is really anger. I think it has more to do with passion and with, because a person who is angry, when you walk away from that situation, there is something in you, there is the anger goes on. It doesn't quit when you stop seeing that person to whom you got angry. And I don't know, I think he could easily be very energetic with somebody and immediately after that, at least that's the impression I get when I see his talks. Sometimes he gets very energetic and then 2 minutes later he's laughing or he's smiling, he says a joke or something like that. So I feel it may not be anger. We see it like that because.
Just a minute, I think it's getting time. In Rishi Valley dining hall once, there was a new teacher sitting with him. And it happened that that gentleman was eating a little noisily. And I didn't know, later on I came to know that day that he caught hold of his shoulder, jerked him and said, "Don't be so noisy when you eat." Such things. Nobody else would have heard him except him. So small things are very sensitive to him. He got very nice about some things. But as Clemice said, it may not be anger because he is a leader there. He is a guide to children. He ought to really present himself with etiquette. With sensitivity is one thing one would observe about him. Sensitive to anything. In 7,000 audience in Bombay, he's sitting down and somebody far away sneezes. I see him jerk.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Pradeep Verma. Pradeep ji, boliye.
Yes, sir. Audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it was a very interesting topic today, teachings and our day-to-day living. What life has taught me, I will share a few lines about that. If we have an attentive learning mind, which means curiosity and space, life is the greatest teacher. Life is the greatest teacher. With a learning mind, one can enjoy the richness and grandeur of life in almost all situations. To me, this one teaching J.K. greatly emphasized can be called the teaching of teachings, a learning mind. Another thing that affected, of course, while living, we hardly recall anything, any teaching, any scripture. When we do our daily living, none of these things come, fortunately. Otherwise, living itself will get affected. So this means fully active senses related to everything, awareness and all that. Then another thing, he said death, love and life are indivisibly one. If we can understand these three things and the relationship with me, death, love and life I think entire philosophy of life one can see in oneself working in him. It depends where do we place ourselves, out of the whole, in the whole, or whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pradeep ji. Thank you. Yes, Durga ji, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So sorry, taking so much of time. I just couldn't help but joining again because just to listen to you and Dubey sir about what it was like when in the presence of Krishna ji. It was so wonderful to listen to because we are all unfortunate souls. Our association with the Krishna ji is only through the teaching, only through the books. And whatever, and then maybe the burden and responsibility will be more because only the teaching, only the books are there, and one really wants to find out the answers. One really wants to, maybe the burden of not listening to Krishna ji also, maybe there is a positive side to it. I'm just saying like that. But it's wonderful listening to both of you, describing how it was like in Krishna ji's presence. And I think the previous speaker, Mr. Verma, also has touched upon very, very weighty subjects, weighty points, I must say. I think that's what Krishna ji always used to emphasize, learning mind. If you are questioning, if you are reflecting, if you are, then maybe you are learning. If we fight, and when we feel that, what all we know is so little, then there is a scope for learning. If we feel that, okay, I have learned everything, then if that state comes, maybe one needs to really be very, very cautious about that state, because that means everything has, one has shut down everything. I feel, and this enormity of this teaching, enormity of this life, I think one has to be completely open to it. Till and unless and until we are open and we are not listening, there are 100 pitfalls we may fall into, and that will be the worst thing to happen to any human being. The best, the lesson one needs to take from Krishnaji's teaching is, to understand the limitations of oneself, one's own thought, rather than becoming so confident about, that, they have understood everything. And the previous speaker, he said, love, death, do we really understand all those things? That is the magnitude of the teaching. So I really, and one more just I want to say, sir, regarding the anger, I also read Krishnaji's books, like, once he mentioned, he does get angry once in a while, but that lasts for a very short time. It lasts maybe for a span of 5 minutes. And the moment he's out of the door, he completely forgets about that. Maybe that is the lesson we need to take, because our minds are in a position of mulling over things. We keep on, that's how thought plays tricks on us, It doesn't allow us to be free of all that. It makes us to keep going on back and forth to whatever that has happened. Maybe there is a difference between our minds and Krishna's, consciousness entirely. That's all I wanted to contribute, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Harshad bhai.
Yes, if anybody wants to know about how Krishna ji was in the presence, I have written something on my YouTube channel titled Experiences with Krishnamurti and His Teachings. There are 5 parts. So there are many, many experiences I have about this problem of anger or awareness. It's like when we are driving a car on the road, and if we become unaware, accident can happen on a busy road. Similarly, if we become unaware of what is happening within us, then anger, fear, jealousy, loneliness, all this can happen. So one has to be alert all the time. And when we are not alert, anger may come, or jealousy, fear. So this is what I have understood from Krishnamurti's teachings is to have an effortless, ongoing awareness, which why effortless? Because if we make an effort, we will get tired. And ongoing, because when there is no awareness, accidents will happen, problems will arise. So how quickly, if there is an unawareness in us, how quickly we come back to awareness, that determines how alert we are. Of course, it is not possible to be aware all the time, but when we become aware, and when they are unaware, and then very quickly we come back to awareness, that is necessary. Otherwise, problems will arise. And the answers Krishnamurti can give, but it doesn't work. Krishnamurti's answers may not help us if we are not able to see for ourselves. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Harshad bhai. Thank you. Anandji wants to say something. Yes,
Yes, sir. So the subject seems to be, besides the daily living, seems to be anger of Krishnamurti also. So I'm aware. I read somewhere when Krishnamurti did get anger. He wouldn't say that. He wouldn't verbalize that. He wouldn't say call it anger. He would remain with the feeling. So that is what it is. I just wanted to say that. A lot of people are asking about his anger and how one felt in his presence and etc. etc. All that is again, my conditioning plays a role. How I feel about him, because I already know about him. So my conditioning plays a major role on how I look at him and how I feel about him. So I would, it's my personal view, sir. I don't see any relevance to that. Krishnamurti also said, don't try to understand me, try to understand yourself. He says you cannot understand him. So that is what it is. But all the time you're talking about how great he was. How great he was or he wasn't. It's again back to my conditioning. It doesn't have any relevance at all. With that, I would answer. Thank you.
thank you, Anandji. Thank you. I think we have come to the end of the talk now. And Harshad bhai, you want to say something?
Yes, I would agree with Anandji that what Krishnaji was is not very important for us, but what is happening within us. And if we are really curious and we can be alone and silent and can turn the attention inward, we can find out everything what Krishnaji found out about humanity. So the whole humanity lives within us. And when we understand ourselves, we can understand how the human mind works. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have come to the end of the talk now. I want to thank Dr. Gajanan Rao once again for being with us and giving such a wonderful discourse. I really enjoyed hearing him. Next Sunday, we'll have Professor Vikas Beniwal. He's a professor in Delhi University. He has talked to us once. So he'll be here next Sunday at 11 o'clock. I don't remember the theme of his talk. If Sushilji can tell us, then Sushil, do you recall his theme?
I tell you, sir, just be with me.
Okay, so with these words, thank you everyone. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Anand.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, yes.